Good afternoon, well I should say good evening because it's dark outside now, and welcome back to another episode of Cheap, Tasty and Filling. Yes, another recipe using hardly any money at all. But I'm cheating this week because the vegetable that I'm using, which is celeriac, both of them were completely and utterly free of charge, left on the doorstep by a neighbour. If you follow us on social media, in particular Planet Vegetaria, you'll have seen the story as to how these vegetables appeared. And that now would have been a couple of weeks ago because I'm filming this in advance. So the celeriac are fresh because it's now confusing. Anyhow, welcome. So let's get on with today's recipes. I've got two recipes for you today. The first one is braised celeriac in garlic, butter and stock. Mouth is watering already. I think it's going to be a winner. What I've done is I've done a bit of research on Google and I've looked at the kind of flavours that go well with celeriac, and I'm playing to those strengths. And the second recipe I've got is a really super simple one. It's mashed celeriac with caramelised onions. Again, mouth salivating already, can't wait to do it. So without further ado, let's get in the kitchen and make these dishes. What ingredients have we got? So we've got my lovely two knobbly, weird looking celeriac or celery root. I've got some stock, vegetable stock, pre-prepared. It's probably, I don't know, about half a litre. I've got some lemon juice in here. Sorry about the shadows. A couple of bay leaves, some butter, some chopped garlic, black pepper, and 2 good teaspoons of sage, dried sage. I've got my trusty frying pan because the first stage of this recipe is to brown the celeriac. And then I've got my oven-proof dish. I'm also going to need some foil. And you've also noticed that I've got this horrible, evil knife. I hate knives like that, but I'm going to need that to peel and chop my celeriac, which is the first thing we're going to do. All of these things we had in. The celeriac was free. The cost of the stock, I don't know, pennies. I had a lemon, bay leaves from the garden, garlic from the plot, the herbs and black pepper we had in. So if you were buying this, you would probably need to buy the celeriac. These aren't huge examples. I've noticed that a sort of 1.5 kilos costs around £1.50 maybe. These are smaller, so they're probably around £1. And of course, by the time we've peeled it, we're going to lose quite a bit of the flesh. And they are very knobbly. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to peel them. I don't have a sort of industrial sized peeler, so I'm going to use this sharp knife. And it's important that they're nice and flat and stable. I'm going to have to cut the base off. Oh no, that's got a bit of a base there. Yeah, I'm going to cut the end off just to make sure they're really flat, so I don't have any kind of horrible accidents. So let's get on with that. Let's clear this space and get chopping. Okay, this one isn't so steady, so let's get a good steady base on this one. Okay. That can go to one side. I'm going to get my pan hot. I'm going to add the butter. The first thing we're going to do is to brown the celeriac. So we need to get this quite hot. all I'm going to do is place carefully the celeriac in there. It has quite a fresh smell to it, not strong, but fresh and pleasant. I'm going to keep the heat medium to high. And just let them brown. And we're going to brown them on both sides. I have no idea how long they're going to take to brown. Don't have a huge amount of experience with celeriac, so I'm not too sure. I'll probably have to check one after about 5 minutes, I would have thought. Very nice. This is when I could do with my grabbers, which broke the other day. There we are. Ooh, they look gorgeous. Wow. I think I'm going to enjoy this dish. I've got a feeling already. Okay, that's good. So they're browned on both sides. Yeah. That's great. So what I'm going to do is transfer them to the dish now. I'm turning the heat off, although I will be using this pan shortly. Let's get these out and pop them in the oven-proof dish. They look divine already. Gosh. Come on. I'm being very careful because this is very hot. And I also want to keep this butter in here. Back to the frying pan. Now the butter is still hot. I'm just going to put the heat on just very low. And to that I'm going to add my herbs, black pepper and garlic. I'm just going to get them started in the residual heat of the frying pan, just to start the flavours off. So this is sage, garlic and black pepper. I can smell the garlic. Once that's been cooking for, I guess, a minute or so, 2 minutes maybe, pour the whole lot over the celeriac. Just turning them, just making sure that each piece comes into contact with that butter and those flavours. Don't worry too much. I'm just doing this just to make sure that it's sort of distributed well. But we're going to be pouring stock in here shortly anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. That'll do. I'm going to add my lemon juice. I'm using lemon juice because my research told me it's a good flavour to marry with celeriac. I'm going to add my stock. which I need to stir. I need my stock to sort of come up to about halfway along the level. I think that will do absolutely fine. And then bay leaves. A couple of bay leaves from the garden, just tuck them in. This is going to go into an oven covered with foil. The total cooking time I think will be about 40 minutes at the most. So I think I'm going to cover it for the first 10 to 15 minutes and then I'm going to cook it uncovered for the rest of the cooking time, because I do want some of the liquid to evaporate, but I also want to make sure that the celeriac is cooked through. So let's pop some foil on here. Okay, the oven is preheated to 180. Let's pop this in and have a look in about 15 minutes. Oh, it's starting to bubble. Oh, look at the colour of that juice. Oh, it looks divine. I'm going to flip all the pieces of celeriac. Gosh, I am so looking forward to eating this. It's going to be gorgeous, I'm sure. The smells coming off this are just lovely. Sorry if my hands are in the way, but it's awkward enough. I'm going to put this back into the oven and I'm going to cook it for another, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe, without the lid. Actually, I'm just going to taste some of this juice. Oh, goodness me. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. It's just come out of the oven. I don't know whether you can see, but it's still bubbling, but the liquid has dropped, which is good. And, oh yeah, they're cooked. And the liquid has almost created a sort of sauce that could be, you know, sort of poured over your meal. Oh my God, I can't wait to try this. I'm going to have to try it now. Oh, it's lovely. The sauce is lovely. It's like a peppery, stocky, herby gorgeousness. I cannot wait to have this meal. Absolutely divine. There we have it. Braised celeriac with bay, sage, lemon, black pepper, garlic and butter. So it's lunchtime and we're having this very indulgent lunch of braised celeriac with Linda McCartney sausages and steamed peas. How lovely, Paul.
It smells lovely.
It's very rich.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Is it good?
Oh, this is an absolute winner. It's sort of creamy and garlicky and savoury. Oh, it's gorgeous. Mum used to do braised celery. I love braised things, and this is a reason to buy celeriac. Oh, I think I'd be quite happy with just this and some bread, actually.
It's rather tasty, isn't it? And actually pretty easy to do.
I think this is one of the most delicious things I've eaten for quite a while. And we eat a lot of really delicious things.
Oh, you say that to everything I cook.
No, I don't.
You do.
No. Most things are adequate. Yes.
It's hard to describe the actual flavour of the vegetable though.
I actually do think this brings out the flavour of the vegetable incredibly well. Because sometimes it gets lost.
Well,
It's quite subtle, but it gets lost sometimes.
I've used flavours that are supposed to complement celeriac.
And it's sweet as well. I know it's not sweet like sugar. It's sweet because, well, A, it's caramelised, but B, whatever starch in here has really sort of sweetened.
So there we have it. We should have our lunch.
I'm going to eat all of mine first, I think. No, I shouldn't. I should have it with something, shouldn't I?
See you very soon.
Bye.
So, the next recipe I have for you, and this will be the final one because I've just decided to do 2. At one point I thought maybe I'll do 3, maybe I'll do 4, but I thought no, let's just settle with 2 good ones. This is even easier than the previous one. I've cubed my celeriac, and what I'm going to do is I've got a cup here with some lemon juice and water in it. Because I don't want the celeriac to start browning too much, I'm going to throw this over now. Just going to give that a quick toss with my hand. Celeriac does brown quite quickly if you just leave it to the air. So a little bit of lemon juice will stop that from happening. That's fine. I mean, a little bit of colour in there is quite nice. It's a sort of golden brown that it starts to go. So, I'm going to add a little bit more water to that. Probably, I don't know, half of this mug. I'm going to microwave that for about, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 minutes until they're soft. And let's get these onions caramelising as well. As usual, I'm using my trusty Tefal. Let's get it hot. A little bit of olive oil. Also, what I'm going to say is I've got a lid that fits the frying pan. It's not the lid that comes with it, it just happens to fit. If you haven't got a frying pan with a lid, you can use a saucepan. Caramelised onions take quite a while to do. They will take 20-25 minutes. So we need to be able to just let them sit on a low heat once they're starting to fry. Let's pop the onions in. Spread them about in the pan. I like to cut them this way because they look quite attractive when they start to fall apart. They're a bit tricky, onions, sometimes. They sort of stick together, so you need to be firm with them. Okay, so they're up to heat, which is good. I'm going to turn the heat down and put the lid on. And just leave them. Give them an occasional stir. As you can see, the onions are starting to caramelise, which is lovely, perfect. That's exactly what we want, some nice colour. Give them a stir. Make sure you keep the heat low. You've noticed as well that, 2 small onions, have reduced dramatically. My celeriac is nearly ready. Let's put the lid back on. Okay, those onions are looking great, very caramelised and gorgeous. So turn the heat off and pop them to one side. My celeriac is now cooked. Just going to use my oven glove because I need to go in and really crush all of this. I'm going to add my caramelised onions. I could just dive in right now and eat that. Final thing to do is add some seasoning. I'm going to add some sea salt, freshly ground pepper, if you wanted to, you could add some cheese, you could add some mustard, and I'm going to try some right now. Oh, the sweetness of the onions. That's gorgeous. I love it. I love it, and I think it's a great idea. I'm really going to be into celeriac from now on, most definitely. I think it's a really versatile vegetable. Now, we're not going to be eating this tonight because we've already had celeriac and a big lunch today. So I'm going to freeze this. Yes, freeze it. So I'm going to pop it into a container once it's cool and put it in the freezer, and it will keep for at least a month. It won't last that long in the freezer. It will be eaten within that time. So there you go. Celeriac mash with caramelised onions. Yum. So there you have it. Two gorgeous dishes. The braised celeriac, you've got to try it. It was like eating a proper dish from a restaurant. It really was. It had such a good flavour to it. Amazing. Can't believe I did that. And the mash, well, that's going to be for another day. Going to pop it in the freezer. Thinking ahead as usual. So thank you very much for watching this week's episode. I hope you're all well. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon for more cookery. Bye for now.